Parents of Reddit, what is the creepiest thing your kid has ever said or done? From r/AskReddit. My husband is a farmer. One night he asked me to pick him up after working ground, and it was pretty late, around 10 o'clock. So I loaded our 2 girls up, then 4 and 2, and headed to the field. We get to the field and C is finishing up his last round, so we had to wait for a minute. I rolled the windows down in the van and shut the engine off. After a few minutes my 2-year-old says, "Mommy, who dat man outside?" I said, "I don't see a man, is your Ken doll on the floor?" My 4-year-old then piped up, "He's right outside your door, and staring at you. He's scary. He has blood on his face." That's when I turned the key, rolled the windows up, locked the doors, and called my husband, and told him to hurry the hell up, because the girls are terrified, and there's apparently a scary man outside my door, that I can't see, but both girls are describing him, and what he's doing. Thankfully C was done, and heading up to the van at that moment and we left. My girls are now 5 and 7, and they both still remember that man, and refuse to go to that particular field. I have to ask my MIL to watch them when I need to pick their daddy up from there. On a long drive through central/western Pennsylvania, all farms and hills or forests and low mountains, my 5-year out of nowhere says, "This will look really cool as a wasteland." You know, after everyone dies. As much as we asked, he didn't elaborate on that. Edit. It was between Williamsport and Wellsboro on Route 15 when he said it. The H was from another sentence that was accidentally deleted. He caught us off guard because the car was dead quiet between songs and we thought he was on his tablet. It really creeped us out. Alone with my 4-year-old Midwestern daughter when she randomly whispers, "Oh, she's here," while staring out a dark window. Edit. For people wondering, when said correctly, it rhymes with nope, dope, rope, and don't forget pope. My 4-year-old likes to play this make-believe game where she is having a baby and needs it cut out of her. We have never explained to her what a C-section is. Then the baby always has some sort of deformity, like no eyes or arms or something, and she needs to try again to have a better baby, and she is just going to throw the bad one out. My wife and I have refused to play this game with her once we noticed the pattern, but now she is drafting her younger sister into it, and they love it. I'm torn between making them stop, or just being happy they are playing so nicely together. Edit. After seeing some comments, I will add that my wife and I do not let our kids watch YouTube unattended. We have discussed this weird game with our daughter and do monitor it, but overall it just seems harmless despite its creepiness. I overheard a girl tell her mom, "Her eyes are pretty," referring to the new daycare employee. "I wanna wear them on my charm bracelet." Kind of sweet, I guess. My niece and nephew were 13 and 15 at the time and we were watching them for my brother-in-law while he was out of town. At about 3 AM I get shaken and awake to 2 visibly upset teens who start sobbing about a dead woman trying to get in my niece's bedroom window. This jolts my husband out of bed in a hurry. He grabs his handgun and tells me to stay with the kids. They live in a mobile home that sits on risers, so this window is roughly 9 feet at its base. He goes down the hallway and I hear him shout, "What the duck?" and run back to the front door and outside. Now the niece and nephew are losing their minds, not wanting their uncle getting hurt, so I call the cops and walk to the door to see what's going on. The dead woman was in fact a woman hopped out of her mind on who knows what, naked, and she did very much look like a corpse. She had been standing on the roof of my truck, trying to see in the windows. Posted this before. My 4-year-old son had a habit of announcing when he had to use the bathroom. He would say, "I gotta go potty." One time he makes his business known and heads off toward the bathroom. He returns seconds later and says there's already someone in the bathroom. Now I do know for a fact that it's just the 2 of us home, so the hair stands up on my neck. I ask him, "What do you mean?" He repeats, "There's already someone in the bathroom." Now I'm thinking, is it someone I see dead people or someone in a hockey goalie mask? So I grab the biggest knife from my knife block and tell him to stay here. I walk to the bathroom, take a wide angle to see in. Nobody. Slowly and quietly walk toward the shower and pull back the curtain. Nothing. By now my son has walked around the corner and I ask him, where did you see the person? He points to an unflushed toilet and says, see, someone's already here. His big brother didn't flush the toilet. We just watched her and looked at each other with the WTF look on our faces. Same granddaughter, some years later, still sleeps with me when she visits because that girl scares her. That's all she'll say because evidently the girl told her not to tell anyone about her. My son woke me up at about 2 AM in fear. We live in a one-story house, so his window is facing towards the street on a ground level. He told me there was a man outside looking back at him. I follow him back, and sure enough, our neighbor was looking into the window. I asked him what he was doing. He didn't answer. I called my husband to come, and when he got there, he walked away. The next day I asked my neighbor if he recalled the events of that night, and he said no. Probably sleepwalking. Scared the spit out of me. Edit. To clear things up, no cops were called. Was probably sleepwalking, probably no intent to hurt. My husband did go over there and smack him. They moved out a few weeks later. Another edit. Again, yes, my husband smacked the dude. Decided not to press charges, so my husband said the reasonable thing to do was to teach him a lesson. I had no idea what he was planning to do until my neighbor's wife called me up complaining what he did.